All right, let's shift gears to Alec Baldwin, who is just making dumb decision after dumb decision. I mean, I'm fascinated for your take on this, Vinny, because we haven't talked about it yet, but he gave that disastrous interview to ABC where he was like, I don't feel guilty. I don't feel guilty. Okay, sure. Great. You can spin it however you want. That's going to come back to haunt you. Virtually every lawyer I know predicted that. Sure enough, it did. Then came the lawsuit from Helena Hutchins' husband. She's the cinematographer he killed on set of Rust. This movie he was shooting where she was a cinematographer and he had a loaded gun in his hand, which he didn't know. He says he didn't know. I think most people would agree he didn't know. But he pointed at her and it went off and she died. So now he's being sued. And this is what Alec Baldwin, he decided to comment again. Here he is.
What you have is a certain group of people, litigants and whatever, on whatever side, who their attitude is, well, the people who likely seem negligent have no money. And the people who have money are not negligent. But we're not going to let that stop us from doing what we need to do in terms of litigation. So we have people that are suing people that they think are deep pockets litigants, where they're going to be able to, well, why sue people if you're not going to get money? That's what you're doing it for.
Your thoughts on that, Vinny?
In what world does a man who's holding a gun and points it at someone and squeezes the trigger and kills them not responsible for doing that, right? And this, we're not talking about the criminal responsibility, which is still being investigated. We're talking about simple negligence. This is gun handling 101. To me, he's saying, because I have deep pockets, I'm not negligent, but the people who were negligent don't have deep pockets. No, more than one person can be responsible. There can be contributory negligence in this. And I said from the beginning in this case, I said, there is no doubt that there is negligence here. There's no doubt there is liability here in a civil sense. To me, the whole debate was whether or not he's going to be indicted. But now he's taken it that next level, saying, "Oh, I'm not negligent." Really, is there some sort of shield that actors have from handling a gun that the rest of society doesn't have? For instance, if, say, someone handed me a gun and said it's not loaded, and I pointed at someone and kill him, you don't think I'm responsible for that gun? Right? So you don't get a shield for being an actor, and you don't get a shield because you're at work. Because when a trained police officer accidentally kills someone, the civil liability is automatic, and the criminal responsibility we're seeing is even there. We saw that in the case of Kim Potter.
Yeah. Right.
So I don't understand this world he's living in where he's distancing himself from the negligence. I thought he would have embraced the negligence and in order to try to distance himself from the criminal liability, which I think there's a real possibility for that as well.
How about, Robert, of course they want money. Why do you sue somebody? Why sue people if you're not going to get money? That's what you're doing it for. Why doesn't the husband of the woman you killed deserve some money? None of us has a problem with him getting money.
I mean, absolutely. And not only that, but I mean, her minor child, who now gets to grow up without a mother. I mean, clearly what Alec Baldwin did was illicit. The only question is whether just civil liability should attach or should also criminal liability should attach, because what Kim Potter was convicted of was for far less conduct than what Alec Baldwin did. He aimed the gun at a human being, cocked it back, and then pulled the trigger. Claims he didn't, but that logically doesn't hold. So he's likely lying about the fact that he pulled the trigger. So you look at those aggregate consequences, he and the production companies are absolutely civilly liable for what they did, and it's going to be a big check that they have to write. And the plaintiff's firm that is representing the husband and the young son is one of the top in the country. So Baldwin should just get his checkbook out.
Yeah, an insurance company is going to write this check, Vinny. Why is he even out there fighting a PR war that is unwinnable? All of the public sympathy is with the victim and her family.
Well, it may be part of a personality. When you are that public and you're a celebrity, and yes, he's been a controversial celebrity, but I think that's part of his DNA. Like you think you can talk your way out of it. We see this with other criminal defendants sometimes trying to talk their way out of it. And it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work. To me, it's a case of where a little bit of knowledge is dangerous, right? Alec Baldwin is obviously intelligent, right? He's obviously, this has been the center of his life, so he understands a little bit about the law and the way it works. But that little bit of knowledge is turned into a dangerous public relations disaster. But now some of these things he's saying may end up in a courtroom and will be used against him. And I don't think making statements like that in any way set things up better for his criminal liability either, because you've got a DA who, I think this is really a call for the DA to make. Should I or should I not go forward with prosecuting this case? And you keep saying things like this, it could get under her skin, and she may just file those criminal charges.
Mm-hmm. I should tell our audience that Robert went back to his court hearing. I guess he's doing it via Zoom, thankfully for us, because he can pop into our court. He can go into real court. This is kind of fun. Now we can debunk all of his points while he's gone. Vinnie, why do you think that he's actually facing the real potential of criminal charges in this case? Because, a lot of lawyers have poo-pooed that.
Yeah, I would not poo-poo that. And again, one analogy I use a lot is take it out of the context of a movie set. And, there's no way there would not be some level of criminal responsibility. Also coming off of the Kim Potter case. I make that comparison all the time. Here's someone who thought she had one weapon in her hand and had the wrong weapon. Well, he thought he had an unloaded gun in his hand, but he had a loaded gun. Now, whose fault is it? Well, guess what? Someone hands you a gun and you can have expert after expert after expert come in and say the way it's supposed to happen. That gun is supposed to be checked. If he's not going to personally check it, it should be checked in front of him. So if the armorer or whoever is going to say this is not a loaded weapon, that check of the weapon should be done in front of him so he can eyeball it himself. That is the industry norm. And he deviated from the industry norm.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.